do versus at club nights, there's more, I will say there was more of a restricted range. Like if I start playing, 350 BPM tracks in a row, people are going to get tired and I'm going to chill the dance floor. So I have to be much more aware of that. And so there's like a different kind of feedback mechanism, which is also super fun to consider while you're actually DJing, because then you have to think on the spot and not really rely on predetermined playlists.
Yeah, do you think social media has a different interaction as far as like, messaging people as opposed to seeing them at an event?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you can speak more to this because I started doing Twitch DJing and then worked my way into doing live DJing, but I'm sure it was far different for you because you started as a live DJ and then did Twitch.
Yeah, I kind of missed that question. I'm sorry.
I was asking if there was a difference between the interaction socially on social media as opposed to at a live event.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, Twitch is way more chill. It's more relaxed. Like, I don't feel as much pressure when I'm spinning on Twitch. I mostly spin on Twitch just to spin what I feel like playing. Like, I have a selection of tracks that are, like, new that I know I want to play, but I haven't, like, planned out a set. It's always improvised on Twitch, pretty much. And just kind of go with the flow and meander between different styles and genres a little bit. And it's nice just to have the conversations with people and connect with people from all over the world who are kind of audiophiles and into these specific subgenres of music. Club is just way different. You're trying to keep people moving on the dance floor. The environment is just completely different with the darkness and the lights and the super loud music. That's more intense and more fun. And so it's just kind of a different vibe.
Twitch has been a really great way to network with other people and to meet people from everywhere. And so we've had a lot of opportunities to talk to other DJs, and then in the future we might go to a different city and DJ with someone else that we know that we met online. So it has opened the doors in a lot of ways that I think that before we didn't have. Before we were sort of more insular in our regional communities, and now Twitch has really opened that up.
So speaking of interactions on Twitch, are there any people that you look up to as far as you get your style influences or your technique from that you've been able to interact with on social media?
Yeah, so there's a lot of DJs that I look up to on Twitch, and Difflin is an incredible DJ. I look up to him, and we've been able to play with him in different events. He's in the UK. He does Slime Lights, the club in UK too. But he's incredible. He knows so much about music. He always has some kind of commentary about all the different bands that he plays, and he plays sometimes 3 songs at a time and just seamlessly goes from one to the other. It's just like a pleasure to watch him perform, because you can just tell he's having fun, and that energy is imparted into his sets, and it's just it's incredible to watch him. There's a lot of other DJs that I've seen that I'm just my mind is blown whenever I see them play. And a great thing too about Twitch is that at clubs you can't really see DJs perform most of the time. They're behind this wall or up high in the booth. But with Twitch, you get to, a lot of people have been putting their cameras up close to their boards, and so you can see exactly what they're doing and learn from them. So I feel very fortunate that I've been able to get that opportunity to see people perform and see what they're doing and how they're playing and what kind of equipment they're using.
There's been a few specific channels like Interference Radio and stuff that have done a really good job of kind of collecting a lot of good DJs in this kind of techno-industrial style that we've gotten more into. And a lot of the DJs that have been on that have been really great, and it's been awesome to get like a lot of them I hadn't heard of before, and they're from all over the world. And so to watch them spin and to do events with them and to connect with them and be friends with them now, it's been pretty cool.
That's very cool. So, Sprite, speaking from experience, do you think that the city that you live in has an influence on your music?
Chicago's home to a lot of varieties of electronic music. With industrial music specifically, Chicago has always been wax tracks. Chicago's always been kind of a focal partly why I got into industrial music in the first place, going to the original Wax Tracks record store back in the early 90s, late 80s. And some of the clubs that kind of came out of that scene too, like Medusa's back in the late 80s and early 90s, and then Neo. There's just such a community built around that, being able to kind of get into that community and kind of figure out my own particular tastes and path along that. It's been interesting. Like I wouldn't have probably done that if like that hadn't been here in Chicago to start with.
Do you think that it's easier to start something new or to come into an already established event or club night and build something up there?
There's so many club nights that are in the kind of like industrial genre. There's so many actual subgenres that are kind of crammed together. You've got goth and dark wave and synth pop, and then you've got old school wax tracks type industrial in EDM, and then you've got like the newer EDM and the EDSM, the kind of like dark synth music, and now you've got more of and then you've got like the harder like rhythmic noise and power noise, and now techno industrial. The good clubs are the ones that have always kind of managed to appeal to multiple genres at the same time. Mm-hmm. Like if you look at some of the bigger kind of clubs around the world that have been longer lived in the kind of industrial side of things, like they've always done the thing where like they have different rooms that appeal to different genres all going at the same time, so you can kind of like bounce between them. You see that Fast Bunker and Slimelight and The Matrix and stuff like that. I feel like the kind of genres I've been interested in, I focus a little more on newer stuff, like stuff that's more recently released. And a lot of people kind of fall into these habits of just listening. As we talked about this before, that people kind of have a tendency to get stuck in music that they listened to kind of in high school